Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this is the Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara, the hybrid version, the strong hybrid version, because there's also a mild hybrid. And this, as we know, is something that we have not seen before in this category, because the hybrid here really makes a huge difference in terms of the fuel efficiency that this car can deliver. And we have seen with the Toyota Urban Cruiser Hyryder also that this car really can deliver fuel efficiency which is unseen, unheard of in this segment. Today I am going to let you know every single thing that you need to know about this car. So you need to watch this review till the end. You'll get to know a few things that you probably won't anywhere else, and I'm also going to let you know whether you should be buying this version, the mild hybrid version, or something else altogether. So let's get started with what this engine, transmission and the battery system is. So first and foremost, there obviously is a 3-cylinder 1.5 liter naturally aspirated engine which provides the meat of the power, which is mated to a 1.7 kilowatt hour battery, and the transmission system is taken care of course, by a CVT as well as the motors which propel the wheels. Now, in conjunction, what's really impressive is how this entire system works seamlessly. And while sometimes the CVT is sending the power to the wheels, sometimes the battery is powering the wheels, when this transition happens, you hardly ever get to know, and that really is something which is very amazing. To start off, I need to make one thing very clear. This car is not for the performance enthusiast. This is solely focused towards fuel efficiency and comfort. It's a very practical car, very plush to drive, but it's not meant to be hustled. So performance wise, you won't really get any earth shattering numbers. We did a test of this car and the 0 to 100 time comes up in about 12.5 seconds, which is respectable, which is okay, perfect for everyday driving conditions and for the highways also, but it's not something which is going to really thrill you. In terms of how this entire system works, by itself the engine produces 92.4 PS of power at 5,500 RPM, and it produces 122 Newton meters, which of course is less than the mild hybrid K series engine. However, the motor can produce 82.2 PS and the torque there is 141 Newton meters, which is available from 0 RPM. Taken together, the maximum power is 115.56 PS. Now that entire system comes together beautifully. When you're starting off, it feels very responsive. The response to the throttle, especially over inclines or from a standstill, is very nice. Park throttle response is very good. However, when you mash the pedal, it doesn't feel like this car wants to achieve very high speeds. The acceleration is okay, but it's not something which is going to entice the enthusiast. But with the plush suspension and with the beautiful response that it gives you with power throttle, it is a very practical car, very well insulated, very quiet. And when you look at the meter, especially in the eco mode, the fuel efficiency is earth shattering. Right now we are driving through these ghat sections and I've been switching from power to eco to normal modes, and the fuel efficiency still is showing 18.5 kmpl right now. We have been idling also while we were setting up our microphone, and if you are driving on an open highway, this car can actually exceed its specified fuel efficiency of 28 kmpl, which means that if you're driving gingerly at about 80-85 kilometers per hour on an open highway with a light right foot, you actually can get fuel efficiency in excess of 28 kmpl. Yes, you really can. In real world conditions within the city also, you should be able to get about 16-17 kmpl, which is a very respectable number. And if you're going on a highway, even with some stop-start traffic, 24-25 kmpl is easily achievable. Now you see, with the spiraling fuel prices, that really should make a huge difference to people who are high on mileage, people who really want to be using their car for long distances. If you really compare this car, because this also is an automatic with the new 1.4 liter turbo petrols which the Koreans offer with the DCT, the fuel efficiency there is very less. In effect, this fuel efficiency is almost double of what you'll get there in the real world, and there you'll have huge savings. Also, you have to understand that this powertrain belongs to Toyota, and that really should say something about its reliability. So you really won't have to bother about maintaining it much. So for someone who's looking for something really practical, fuel efficient, and something that isn't very heavy on the pocket, this powertrain really works wonders. It's really something that we have not seen in this segment before. So that is the good part. The fuel efficiency is great, it's pretty usable, practical, the tractability is very, very good, part throttle response is fantastic. However, as I mentioned, the outright performance is not great. Also, this is an eCVT, which essentially is a CVT which works in conjunction with the motors, but it can get a little bit noisy. The engine is a 3-cylinder unit. Also, as you can see here on the meter, you have 3 parts. You have power, eco and charge. So while you're using part throttle, you are in the eco zone, but the moment you go to the power zone, the engine starts getting noisy. So that really is one of the negatives of this powertrain, where the engine can get a little bit noisy, especially if you're hustling it. On part throttle is fine, it's silent, it's refined, but if you want to be driving fast, it does create some noise. Now apart from that, you also have this EV mode, where the 1.7 kilowatt hour battery is completely utilized to drive silently only on battery power. And in that mode, you really cannot go long distances, but if the battery is fully charged, theoretically speaking, it can go 2 to 3 kilometers on 2 to 3 kilometers on battery charge only. Apart from that, you have these drive modes as well, and the fuel efficiency that I talked about, the maximum fuel efficiency, can be derived using the eco mode. The fuel efficiency really increases. In power mode, definitely you will get better response from the throttle, the acceleration is improved. But if you are going to be buying this car, I would suggest that you use it in the eco mode, because fuel efficiency there really is amazing, and that really is where this car has to be used. You also have the normal mode, and as you change the modes, the color on the instrument console also changes. As you can see, this is the power mode, this is the eco mode, and this one here is the normal mode. Now let's also talk about the ride and handling of this car. Now it has McPherson struts up front and a torsion beam at the rear, and I really must say that from a comfort perspective, Maruti Suzuki and Toyota of course have done a fantastic job. This car really absorbs bumps like a pro, and if comfort is what you're looking for, this one is really going to make you really happy, as it will your family members, because it feels really, really plush. We took it out on some really bad roads yesterday. We were looking for some spots to shoot the car, and the surface was really bad, but this car really managed to go over those surfaces in a manner very few cars can. And while the handling part is not something to really write home about, suspension is really, really plush. Add to that about 200 mm of ground clearance, and this car can really go over bad surfaces really, really well. Now it's not an off-roader per se, and even with the all-wheel drive version which is available with the 1.5 liter K series engine, the approach and departure angles are a bit of a problem, but for most part over bad surfaces, this car can handle whatever our terrain can throw at it. You can do a little bit of soft roading with this car. However, you have to understand that this is primarily biased towards the road. As for the steering, this is relatively light, but it is not as dead as the Brezza. There is some precision to it. It is light, but it is still active. You can feel that the wheels are moving as soon as you move it, even by a degree. So it's lively in that sense. However, it's not one of the most engaging steering wheels. It's light. The feedback could have been a little bit better. You can place it properly on the road using the steering. It's not entirely imprecise, but there are definitely better steering wheels. Talk about the Skoda Kushaq or Volkswagen Tiguan. The steering wheel there is much better. The drive itself is not very engaging. The car feels a little bit wallowy, but it's still very, very comfortable to be in. For all practical purposes, it feels very nice. But as I mentioned before, this is not a package for the enthusiast. The insulation inside the cabin is also very good. You don't hear any ambient noises. You can hear the suspension working just a little bit, but overall it is one of the better insulated cars in the segment, and definitely one of the most comfortable ones. So if you're looking for outright performance or sharpness of the transmission, you should probably look elsewhere. But if you're looking for a practical car which is extremely fuel efficient, very, very practical and tuned for Indian requirements, this car really stands out. Now apart from the P, R, N and D modes on the drive selector, you also have this B mode, which is meant for the brake energy recuperation. And if you put the car In B, the deceleration is stronger and the batteries are charged faster. So essentially, if you're going downhill or if you can anticipate traffic ahead, you can just lift off and you will essentially get better range because the batteries will work harder to take you longer. So this mode should be used if you don't want to coast for too long and there is traffic ahead. In stop-start conditions also, this mode really helps. Although the regen mode does not stop the car as strongly as we have seen on the Tata Nexon EV Max, which is a pure electric car. This mode really enhances the fuel efficiency by some margin if you know how to use it. Overall, I would recommend this car for those who want exceptional fuel efficiency, and if your mileage is high, I really think that this car is going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Also, if you're interested in seeing how this hybrid system is working, so as you can see right now, the engine is working and it's providing the power. I have lifted off now and now the batteries are charging. The engine is not working so hard. See, now I'm accelerating, so the engine is sending power to the wheels. I've lifted off now and now the batteries are being charged because of the regen. I'll also show you right now. The car is running purely on battery power as the engine is not involved at all. As you can see, the wheels are drawing power from the battery only. So that was about the performance, but I'm pretty sure that you also want to know about the design and how big this car is. Now, let's first talk about how big it is, and it's quite long. It's longer than the duo of the Seltos and the Creta. However, if you compare it with the Hyryder, it's 20 mm shorter, but it's still quite longer than the other cars in the segment. In terms of the wheelbase, it's shorter than the Creta and the Seltos by 10 mm, which is almost negligible. And of course, it's the same as the Hyryder. It's almost as wide as the Creta and Seltos, and it's also taller. In fact, it's taller than the Hyryder also by 5 mm. So that was about the dimensions. It's a pretty big looking car and looks slightly elongated. I would have wanted it to look squatter, although it looks nice, but it has a slightly tall stance to it. I would have wanted it to look more butch and more planted. Now, in terms of styling, to be very honest, to me, Grand Vitara looks slightly better than the Hyryder, and that's primarily down to the fact that I like this grille better and I like these DRLs better. It makes it look more SUV-ish, and in my books, it's slightly better to look at. Now, to differentiate the hybrid version from the mild hybrid version, you have to look at the chrome. On the strong hybrid, you'll have this dark chrome, and on the mild hybrid, you'll have normal chrome. These three DRL units are LED and they also double up as the blinkers. They look really nice. There's a mild bulge on the bonnet, and I really like the way this grille has been done. The LED projector lamp is a single unit and doubles up as the high beam and a low beam. It's surrounded with this glossy black color. Skid plate is a glossy gray, and coming towards the side, you have these two-tone alloys, 17-inch wheels, 215 section tire, a glossy black cladding, 200 mm of ground clearance, body-colored ORVM with LED blinkers, and again, a differentiator here is this silver roof rail. On the mild hybrid, it's black. You have a big panoramic sunroof, shark fin antenna is standard, and this little detail here would probably remind you of the Creta. You have a chrome lining on the window sills, and the roof here isn't exactly a floating type. It's at the rear where I really like what Maruti Suzuki have done with the Grand Vitara, and I really like this connected LED strip. This definitely looks better than the Hyryder, and I quite like the way it looks from the rear. Although the blinkers and the reverse light is not an LED unit, and both of these units are blinkers. You don't have fog lamps, nor do you have front parking sensors on this car. Another differentiator is the fact that you have this hybrid badging here. This is replaced by a mild hybrid on, of course, the mild hybrid variant. You have rear parking sensors, and now coming to the all-important boot. Now you have 255 liters of this space here, and you also have 50 liters of space once you remove this tray. You also have this extra space where you have the toolkit. All in all, this space here is about 300 liters, both the levels, this and this. However, if you count only this, it's 255 liters. and you also have a 12-volt power socket and an illumination unit. Now this part isn't very impressive because if you compare it with the Koreans, they have 433 liters of boot space, which is more than this. And I really think that if you are going out for a longish holiday with your family, this can be a bit of a problem. And boot space is really one of the things at which the strong hybrid does not excel at. You also get a full size spare, which is a 215 section unit on steel rims. A bit of a respite here is that the seats are 60-40 split, so if you're three of you traveling, you can extend the boot space by adding luggage to the cabin. You have 360-degree camera unit on the ORVMs up front and at the back, and the 360-degree camera on this car is one of the best in the segment. Now let's have a look at the key. It's rather minimalistic. You have only the lock and unlock options, and you also have a sensor here. The mirrors are auto folding. You approach the car, open the doors by just pressing this little button here, and the doors open wide, and you would be welcomed by an all black interior with champagne accents. As you can see, the champagne accent is here. The contrasting stitching is also in champagne color, and this is different as compared to the mild hybrid where you have the Bordeaux red colored or the wine colored interiors with black. In my personal opinion, I think the color scheme on the mild hybrid looks slightly better. There's ample space here, 1 liter water bottle, map pockets, this little crevice, soft to touch materials here, and controls for the mirrors, for the auto folding mirror, lock unlock, one touch down driver's window, and the rest of the buttons. The quality here is okay, nothing really great to write home about, but all this here is soft to touch. This and this part is hard plastic though. Seat height is just ideal. You have driver's side seat adjustment, a dead pedal, controls for the HUD, which is exclusive to the strong hybrid. You don't have it on the mild hybrid version. 360-degree camera and the adjustment for the HUD as well. This is for the brightness. You have the push button start here. Steering wheel is tilt and telescopically adjustable. Controls are very easy. You get a 7-inch all digital screen here. This is replaced by a 4-inch small digital screen on the mild hybrid, and analog dials for tacho and speedo there. You have all sorts of information here, and it's pretty intuitive as well. Let's cycle through all the views. You get cruise control. This here is the HUD auto dimming mirrors. This car also gets TPMS on the Alpha Plus variant. A very beautiful panoramic sunroof, and the good part here is that both the panes go back, so it provides one of the longest openings of any cars in this segment, and it's operable just by one touch. Now another cool feature here is that you can just push this button to open it for ventilation and push it back to close it. Now in terms of features, this car does not miss out on anything. Most of the stuff is there. This gets connected car technology with Suzuki Connect. You can remotely start or stop the engine. You can lock and unlock the doors. You also get geofencing and the things that you expect with a connected car. So that part is completely covered. You get 6 airbags, which is fantastic. On this car, you will get hill hold, but you will not get hill descent control, which you will on the all-wheel drive version. You get ventilated seats, which is fantastic. Auto dimming ORVMs. You get a wireless charger here, which you will not on the mild hybrid version. As I mentioned, the 360-degree camera here is fantastic, one of the best in the business. Automatic AC, ESP, sunshades with illuminated vanity mirrors, sunglasses holder, adjustable seat belts. You get a glove box, which is reasonably sized, but this is not cooled. Now, one important thing that you need to note is that on the top of the line Alpha Plus variant, which is this one, the sound quality from the audio system, which is tuned by Archimedes, is better than the top variant on the mild hybrid. So while the number of the speakers remains the same, the quality of the speakers on the top of the line variant, that's the Alpha Plus, is better. So the sound quality on this system is better than the lower variant. The crash test rating of this car is not available, but this has tech platform from Suzuki, and I'm hoping that it will fare better than the rest of the Suzuki cars when the test rating comes out. Now in terms of storage spaces, you can use the wireless charging space for your cell phones or wallet, as you see me doing right now. You have two cup holders and this sliding armrest which has reasonable amount of space. So in terms of storage spaces, there is no dearth. You also have a 12-volt power socket and this little socket here, 9-inch Smart Play Pro Plus, which comes with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It is a very fluid, very high definition infotainment screen, and I quite like it. You will too, and it's pretty simple. You also have voice commands for certain basic functions. Overall, it's a very well equipped interior. Although in terms of plushness and the way it feels, I would say the Kia Seltos feels the best in this class. The Creta also feels slightly better, although this is also very equipped. And if you look at the seats here, the seats here are quilted. They look very premium, very well bolstered. The foam is of a decent density. You have perforations here and a champagne stitching, as I mentioned before. Looks very nice and premium. But if you want to really compare it with the other cars in the segment, I think the Kia Seltos looks the best. The seats and the dash there looks like it's from a segment above. But in terms of features, this car is second to none, and there is really no feature that's missing here apart from maybe the front parking sensor. The AC works fantastically well, and the controls are such. You control the temperature from here, and the blower is here. These are the AC controls. You can turn the traction control off using this button here. On the mild hybrid variant, you have a start stop button here, but you don't get it here. Now let's get to the back seat and see how good or bad the space and comfort there is. Now open the door and the entry is pretty easy. The seat height is ideal even for the shorter heighted ones amongst you, and you have a 1 liter water bottle space here. Soft to touch materials, hard plastic on top and bottom, glossy black here. And as you can see, the seat height here is ideal. There is ample knee room, there is ample leg room, and if you look at the head space, I think people up to 6 feet should fit here easily. Taller people might have a bit of an issue. The good thing here is that while you don't see much headroom, it's not the most generous, but the seat height is ideal, so you are very comfortable. The recline angle can also be changed using this flap here, and these are the two settings that you have. Individual headrests for all 3 passengers. You have a proper 3-point seat belt, which generally is not available in many cars. Isofix child seat mounts, very well contoured seats. The foam quality is also pretty good. You have these back seat pockets, AC vents, 2 Type-C USB sockets, this little crevice here, an armrest with 2 cup holders, and there's this little hook also which you can put here so that the armrest doesn't come down when maybe if you brake very hard. And of course, this panoramic sunroof lets a lot of light come in. The windows are big. You feel like you're sitting in a nice big airy car. The suspension is very comfortable. So if you're sitting in the back seat, it really adds to the comfort and your experience. And if you're going to be chauffeur driven, this is one of the nicest cars to be in. It's not the widest, but I would say that you can easily seat 2 adults and a child here. And if you're going to be seating 3 adults, I think short to medium journeys is the distance that you should be looking at, because the part of the seat here doesn't have a very solid foam. You just sink in. Also, you have to straddle this little hump here. So in the middle you don't have much space, but on the sides the contouring is really nice. You have a mild bit of bolstering also, and this armrest really adds to the comfort. You also get these 2 reading lights, and on the right you also get a coat hook. In terms of missing features, maybe this car probably could have had those blinds which the Seltos has, but I'm not complaining because generally the cars in this segment don't have that. Also, as compared to the Creta and the Seltos, the front driver's seat is not electric. The Creta also gets an electronic parking brake with auto hold. Overall, in terms of features, you cannot really fault this car because it has some additional features which the other cars don't, including the HUD and the beautiful 360-degree camera which the Creta doesn't. Now in terms of colors, you have 9 colors to choose from, of which there are 6 solid colors, including this Nexa blue. There's an Arctic white, you have splendid silver, grandeur grey and chestnut brown. You have opulent red, and then you have 3 two-tone colors which are available only in Zeta Plus, Alpha and Alpha Plus variants, which are Arctic white with black, splendid silver with black and opulent red with black. Now this model will be available only in 2 variants, Zeta Plus and Alpha Plus, which are the top 2 variants. Also, you have to understand that the feature difference is not much. In fact, this car will also get the panoramic sunroof, as well as even the HUD on even the Zeta Plus variant. The features that differentiate the two are ventilated seats, TPMS, soft touch materials on the dashboard, and 360-degree camera. And if you're saving a couple of lakh rupees there, I really think that you should go with the Zeta Plus variant because you have a lot of features there. The ones on the Alpha Plus are good to have, but you can easily skip them also. Prices have not been announced, but we know the prices of the high rider, and the prices there for the strong hybrid version go from 15 to 19 lakh rupees there. Now if you compare it with the Creta and the Seltos, with the top petrol automatic variant goes for 18 lakh rupees, I really think that Maruti Suzuki would want to undercut or match that pricing, and at that price this car absolutely matches its Korean rivals in terms of features. They probably feel more plush inside. In terms of styling also, one may think that those cars may look slightly better, but I don't really think there's much to separate the two. With the Seltos, I think that the interior feels plusher, but the big advantage that this car has is the fuel efficiency, where if you have high mileage, it's really going to make a huge difference. And if it's priced similar to the Koreans, I really think that those who want to save money while driving the car are definitely going to find a lot of virtues in this one. The fuel efficiency here is the real differentiator. Although if you are an enthusiast and if you want to drive your car fast, then again this car is not probably for you. But a fantastic package, a very practical, very comfortable, very spacious, very good looking feature packed package by Maruti Suzuki. And if you're looking for something that ticks all the boxes in an Indian context from a comfort perspective, you cannot miss taking a test drive of this car. So do not commit that mistake. Do take a test drive of this car, and I can assure you that you're going to save a lot of money if your mileage is high, that is if you drive for long kilometers. I really hope that I was able to answer all your questions about the new Grand Vitara. Still, if you have any questions, do let me know. I'll be happy to answer them in the comment section. If you like long format detailed videos like the one we just did, do hit the like button, subscribe to Motoroids, support quality content. Until next time then, this is Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.